Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy Ken Dog. Welcome back to the next video. Today we're doing NFL Wild Card Weekend. Before we get into this, please like, subscribe, hit the bell. On my way to 600. I have two special guests today. I have Bodee Bates with. What's your channel name, Bodee?
I'm Bodie with Between the Tackles. Please make sure to subscribe. I'll have Kenny link me in the description.
And I have my friend Austin with.
What up, though? Lions Fan Express.
And Ken Dog Sports already here. But yeah, we're doing Wild Card Weekend. I'm gonna go back to my last week's picks and see how I did. And I'll tell you guys my over. What's it called again? The over accumulated score of the year.
Mm-hmm. The overall score, the overall record.
If I can find it. ESPN took away a lot of things. Yes. Okay. NFL pigskin football. Yes. 2023. Make picks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I found it. Okay.
That's good.
I just had to look it up. Last week I went. Not my greatest week of all, but 16 games. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 wins and 5, 9 and what's my, how many? 1, 2, 3.
You would have gone 9 and 7.
Yes, I got 9 and 7 last week. That's not too bad.
Good enough to make the playoffs, I guess.
That would be, well, that'd be up to week 17. So,
and
because of the 18-week season. So,
and Ken Dog Sports end the record with 175 wins and 97 losses. Did not go over 100 losses.
That's pretty good.
And how did your picks go this past week? If you guys did them,
I did not do picks. Unfortunately, I did not get the chance to. My phone wouldn't load. Dad did not have Wi-Fi at his apartment, so
makes sense. What about you, Austin?
Yeah, since I'm not legally allowed to bet on games, I don't even go. I try not to pick games just to kind of save save myself from any hassle. But there was a lot of good games. I was tuned in and watching a lot of the NFL games, and it was definitely a wild weekend because you didn't know who was going to make the playoffs. There was a lot of ifs, ands, and so definitely a good weekend to watch football for sure.
But
yeah, it really was. Even the last game of the night with Buffalo and Miami, that even though it was a 21-14 final score, that was still a fun game to watch. Josh Allen throwing picks, but I mean, he's being aggressive out there on the field, doing what he's got to do. And he throws that magical touchdown that I think it got tipped at the line or by a defender, and it just a receiver lays out hands in front and just catches the ball. So I mean, that was a great catch and then a great punt return.
The good news, you don't have to worry about any money here.
That's true.
But yeah, let's talk about the first game of the week. The Cleveland Browns head to Houston, played the Texans at 4:30 Saturday. Tell me a little about the game if you guys have anything about it.
Well, the last time these two teams met, they met in the regular season. It was a Case Keenum versus Joe Flacco show, and the Texans did not have C.J. Stroud. So I think this game is going to be a lot closer than what it was, and especially this regular season game. That was a game that Amari Cooper and Joe Flacco really took over. I think the Texans with the players all coming back, I think they're going to make this a closer game, but I still think the Browns are going to win because their defense is top 5 in the league, in my opinion. So I'm going to take the Browns over the Texans.
What about you, Austin? How do you feel about this game?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting narrative going into the game because that's Deshaun Watson's old team. Obviously, Deshaun Watson's not playing, but you do have the old trustworthy Joe Flacco leading the Cleveland Browns. I think his playoff experience is definitely going to come into play here. CJ Stroud is one of the best offensive rookies this year. They've been doing a lot of great things as a pretty young team. Should be a good matchup. I think it's going to be close, but I'm going to give me the more experienced defense heavy team with the Cleveland Browns, probably winning by a field goal.
Now, if I'm going to go with you guys or go with Houston. But I've been seeing that Houston is looking good this year with the whole Ohio State Michigan tandem now with Nico Collins. And I've been
And
looking
CJ
good.
Stroud. That has been a good combo, especially last week. I mean, they're the one play touchdown. But I think my opinion is Joe Flacco's got that playoff experience. He's a Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. That's why I picked the Browns. I think honestly they're going to go into Baltimore the very next week, and we'll get into that probably next week.
But yeah, I have a feeling do I pick Houston?
Houston went from worst to first in their division. So, I mean, and I guess Cleveland did too.
Should I do it? I'm picking Houston to win.
Wow, okay.
I don't know why I feel like CJ Stroud's going to have a great game. Because
I think the game is definitely going to be a lot more low scoring than what the regular season game was, just because, the defenses are going to be healthier. So that's my opinion.
Games in Houston also is like the Houston fans will be going out and watching their team. Mm-hmm. I'm picking Houston for the upset, but I'll be rooting for Cleveland Browns anyways.
Mm. That's fair.
Now, everyone's been talking about this game, the Dolphins versus Kansas City Chiefs. And I want to start with Austin's decision on this game.
Yeah, so I think the Dolphins, when the temperature is like below zero or whatever, like really, really cold, they don't do very well. But offensively, man, they have so many weapons. Tua, he's had a great year. They have so many weapons on offense. They did lose some guys on defense, which is like their edge rusher. He tore his ACL. I think it was Chubb.
Yes,
it was Bradley Chubb. Yeah.
So yeah, I saw him. Yeah, that was. Hope he gets better. But at the same time, the Chiefs, their experience, they got the best quarterback in the NFL. They got Travis Kelce, but they just don't seem to be clicking right now. And I know it's going to be at Arrowhead, but I kind of like the Dolphins here. I think that the Dolphins on paper have the better overall team. And I think that the Chiefs just have been struggling too much, but yet the Dolphins have been more consistent to me. So give me the Dolphins. And I think that it's going to be a close game. It'll be a low scoring game for sure with the weather, but whoever can run the ball the best to me is probably going to end up winning that game.
I'm surprised with your pick. What about you?
Yeah, me too.
What about you, Bodee?
I'm kind of surprised too, but honestly, it makes a lot of sense because Miami, they have lost their two edge rushers in, Bradley Chubb and obviously Phillips, tearing. Was it his ACL or was it his Achilles at New York?
It was enough for him you could hear him screaming from the television, and that it was pretty bad.
You were watching
that was on Black Friday too. It was on Black Friday, but I mean, Miami, they have the defense to go win a game, definitely in this atmosphere. But I just think the weather is too big of a factor in this game. I'm looking back at 2021 Michigan versus Ohio State. Michigan did not have that passing game that Ohio State did with CJ Stroud, but the weather played into their ground and pound favor. So that's how Michigan won that game by so much, because they were able to limit Ohio State's possessions. And I think if Miami does the same, they can come out with the win. So, or if either team who does, and they limit the turnovers and they limit the possessions that the other team gets, the winner of this game is going to be the team that holds onto the ball and runs the ball the best. And I think, Miami has been the better running the ball at the beginning of the season, but that was also in the heat in Miami, not the cold in Kansas City, as we saw with Isaiah Pacheco against Cincinnati earlier this year. So I'm going to take the Chiefs because I think, they're more weathered for this game, and I think the weather is going to play in their favor.
And I got some injury updates. Xavier Howard is out tomorrow.
Oof.
Okay, so
That's
that
actually
does
tough.
that is tough. So it's going to make that does kind of support my pick a little better, but I still, I think it really does come down to the ground and who it really always does come down to defense. Really, in the cold and the snow, whoever can limit obviously the time of possession for the other team in the cold and the snow. If you can do that, you can probably win the game as long as you can hold on to the ball and you can win. You can go win the game if you hold on to the ball the most. I think.
And Jalen Phillips did do a Achilles injury.
It wasn't Achilles.
Okay, and I have a feeling the Kansas City Chiefs are meant for cold weather. Miami is not. I found out, some birdie told me that the Miami Dolphins practice facility does not go down past 50 degrees. And that's
Yikes!
not good for you guys, for them.
No, and I think it's going to be like 0 degrees in Kansas City with snow flying all day. I mean that's what football is to me. Is that what playoff football is supposed to be cold and snow, and if your facility is not built for that weather and you're not built for that weather, you're not going to win. And I think the cold and the snow is just going to limit Miami's offense. And I think Kansas City, they have been more defense this year. And I'm going to look back to Monday with how Michigan pretty much took the best offense in the country and disabled them. I get it, it's college football, but still, they disabled the best offense in college football and went out and won and held them to 13 points, won the national championship in a controlled environment, nonetheless, in Houston. Imagine what it's going to be in the cold and the snow in Kansas City this weekend.
Yeah,
And one thing I feel like Houston, that the Chiefs have that what's it called? The other team that the
Miami
Dolphins have is the cold weather facilities all year
and
long.
I mean, they're probably practicing outside as we speak. Where they probably practice outside today just because of this.
I hope Miami came there early to go, do some workouts.
Yeah, that would definitely help them in the game.
Go to a local high school. But my pick is I'm picking Kansas City Chiefs because they're the cold weather team.
Yeah, and the weather I think is going to be the biggest factor. I'm gonna be beating a dead horse here, but I think the weather. It's just the weather I think is the biggest factor.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have another cold weather game, the Steelers versus the Bills, but it's not as bad as
it's still going to be snowy and cold though, so
but not as bad as Miami going to,
No, not going to be as bad. Not as much of a weather shock difference for Pittsburgh as it would be for Miami.
Okay, how about Bodee can start with this in Austin?
I think that Buffalo has, if they can limit the turnovers, they're going to go in and win this game. And I think Pittsburgh, they just played in a monsoon in Baltimore against scrubs, against second teamers. But I think it just really comes down to the fact that Buffalo is going to be more prepared because they have their starters coming back. They have Rasul Douglas. They don't have Tre'Davious White. He's done for the year. But I mean, I'm taking a look at this and I'm thinking Buffalo can go in there and they ran the ball well against Dallas in the cold. Dallas can't play in the cold, but I mean, heck, you look at this game, I think Buffalo goes in there. And the biggest thing I think for Pittsburgh is the fact that TJ Watt is done. Torn MCL, he's done for the year. So
he might come back in 2 weeks. He might come back in 2 weeks.
That is if they win this game, but I think his absence is big enough in this game that Buffalo is going to win.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Austin?
I agree. I think that, TJ Watt's one of the best defensive players in the game. And when you don't have him on the field, that definitely makes an impact. And with the quarterback situation, I definitely feel more comfortable with Josh Allen than I do with whoever. Is it Mason Rudolph that they're throwing
I think it's Mason Rudolph. So I mean, that's another good point. Is that right there is Mason Rudolph?
Yeah, he's a capable backup that can come in and start in a pinch, but can he go out and win a playoff game? I just think that the Bills have too much talent. They're too boom or bust to me to lose a game like this to the Steelers. I feel like they definitely should, when you're at home in the weather, You got the better quarterback. As long as they limit turnovers and they don't do anything too crazy, they should be able to really logistically win this game, just on paper. But you never know. I definitely take the Bills to squeak this one away.
What happened to Kenny Pickett?
Didn't he injure? I don't remember.
I'm looking at the ESPN injury list and there's nothing.
Yeah,
I just think because he wasn't doing good, but that's just me. So,
but yeah, I'm picking the Bills because they have a great offense. They have a whole good defense. Everything's good about them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're missing Matt Milano and Tre'Davious White, but I still think, the Steelers don't have the offense to go out there and win a game with Mason Rudolph and just try and rely on George Pickens and Najee Harris.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we all picking the Bills this week. Now, the great game of the week. I'll let you guys go first and I'll tell you my spiel. Let's start with Austin. I want to know what you're going to say.
What game, Kenny?
The Packers versus Cowboys.
Okay, I just had to make sure because you said the greatest game this weekend. I just had to make sure I was.
I thought the greatest game was happening at 8:00, not 4:30.
You know what I meant.
So, first and foremost, I just want to say the Packers have the fact that they've made it to the playoffs is remarkable, and that is really I think honestly it's basically Jordan Love matured and grew as a quarterback. He started off the season playing terrible, and you guys can't say he didn't. He played terrible, but he started playing better down the stretch, got more comfortable with his receivers. They have Aaron Jones back. Definitely a team that's young but hungry, and I can respect that. On the flip side, you have the Cowboys. You got Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard. You got one of the best receivers in the game with CD Lamb. I think this could go either way, honestly, but coaching might just honestly, the Packers might just be able to outcoach the Cowboys because Mike McCarthy is a really terrible game, like time management. Like he doesn't know how to call a game at the last second. So if it's close, I might give it to the Packers. But here's the thing: as a Lions fan, I can say this: when you go down to play in Jerry World, you're not going to have the calls that you normally get. You're not going to get those calls going your way. I feel like it's going to be really tough to play in Dallas. So it really could go either way, but I think the Cowboys, it's tough. But I do think that it's set up for the Cowboys to win just based off of playing at home and the inexperience of the Packers.
You're picking the Cowboys?
Yes, but by a very slight margin.
Okay. How about you,
I'm gonna have to go with him, but he does make a good point that the Packers can win this game because Mike McCarthy is not good with clock management. I mean, we saw that a couple years ago in the playoffs in the wild card in this exact round, in this exact game against San Francisco. I don't know what that play call. That was not a good play call. The QB sneak with no timeouts left, the QB draw with no timeouts left. That was not a good play call. So I think, and another big thing is that Joe Barry has not called a good game for the Packers really this year, other than against Chicago. Really,
don't speak
the two times they played. But I think you come to this game and you think it's in Jerry World, and it's a tough place to play. And the Cowboys are undefeated there with an asterisk next to that 8-0 home record. But I think we saw that game between Detroit and Dallas. Detroit should have won the game. Refs screwed them out of it. I think the refs are definitely going to play into the Cowboys' hands. And that's just really something that I think is the refs can also ruin a game. So I do think the Cowboys can win this game, definitely. I think they will probably win the game because their defense is built really to win playoff games. And their defense has done well, other than against Buffalo. But, I mean, that was their meltdown in the cold and the rain and whatever in Buffalo that night. But I still think Dallas. It's at home. It's in Dallas. Give me the Cowboys.
Okay. I have picked the Green Bay Packers. Because I'm going favoritism here, but I have a feeling we have never lost to Cowboys. The last 10 times we have lost them once, and that's only at Lambeau during I think Aaron Rodgers was hurt game. I think it was. It was in October. But yeah, I have the Packers winning because they're looking good. 2-game winning streak. They have the momentum and they don't stop it, And they're like a young team that they're gonna in about a year or two, they're gonna be a force to be reckoned with.
That's fair.
That is fair. I mean, yeah, I can see them winning this game, but I just think that it's in Dallas. I think that's the big factor. Just like the weather in Kansas City, I think where the game is being played is going to be the biggest factor.
We have not lost in Dallas.
Yeah, but Dallas hasn't lost in Dallas either all year.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, Packers are good in Dallas. But yeah, I have the Packers winning. Let me go with my spiel with this one, and you guys can go with this.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Packers, not the Packers. I have the Rams versus Lions game. I think it's gonna be a great game. Ford Field's gonna be pumping. It's gonna be like. It's gonna be
louder than Houston was. It's gonna be louder than Houston was back on Monday.
It's gonna be like party like 1984. It's gonna be pumping. Everyone's gonna be crazy. But I have some things to show you guys. Present.
It better not be any more moon phases or anything crazy
No.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving games.
Yeah.
Wait.
Here you go.
Yeah, but that don't mean nothing.
I know, and
I literally saw an ESPN update where they said that they made a mistake by everyone choosing the Rams.
And here's the other thing. I just had to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But end of the day, I have the Lions winning. Okay? Let you guys continue.
Austin, go ahead.
So, obviously there's a lot of emotions going into this game. We all know the storylines. You got Jared Goff versus his old team, Matthew Stafford versus his old team, going back to the Detroit. You just so many storylines, and honestly, the NFL script I feel like they really wanted this game and they were pushing it, and I think that's honestly partly why the Detroit Lions lost against the Cowboys. But that's just speculation. I feel like that when it comes to like on paper, the Rams have a great offense. They have Stafford, who is a gunslinger, even at 35. They have Cooper Kupp. They have Puka Nacua. They have the running back. I forgot his name. Kyron Williams. He's actually a dog. He's
a dog. I will say that Kyron Williams has been really good this year.
Is he a rookie?
I think he's a late round rookie.
Yeah,
along with Puka Nacua.
So, I mean, and then you look at their defense. I mean, Aaron Donald obviously is there, but when you look at the Lions, I think that you have a good offense. I think this is going to be honestly a high scoring game. I don't think either offense or defenses are very great, to be honest, elite. So you have two really great offenses. Basically, it comes down to who's going to score more points in this game. It's going to be kind of a shootout back and forth. And the thing that really worries me about the Lions is our secondary, especially cornerback. I don't know if we have the guys to truly cover both Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, but I do think that with being at home, I think that, Goff and with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, they're going to be on their A game. They're going to know that what this game means to Detroit. And if they lay an egg, against the Rams, they're not going to hear the end of it. So I really, truly think that it's a shootout. It's going to come to a last second. Whoever has the ball last wins this game. I think that the Lions squeak away with maybe potentially by 3 points or less, but it's definitely going to be a good game. So give me the Lions.
How's your home record this year?
Honestly, besides the
Seattle.
meltdown, Seattle and the meltdown at Thanksgiving. We've actually been pretty solid.
We've only lost 2 games at home, so I mean,
And
should have
also
lost 3 with considering Chicago, but I mean, hey, that's the Bears being the Bears. So
right. And one thing that I do want to point out too, before I let Bodie, I'll let you go, is it the Rams have only the teams. Okay, so the teams that are above 500 that they played, so they finished 500 this season. They've only beaten one team that's over 500. All the other teams that they've beaten are below 500. So the
I
Lions,
think it was the
however,
Rams they beat or the Colts they beat. That's the only team that's over 500 they beat, right?
I believe so. So the Lions have won like 3 or 4 games against teams that are over 500. So
including the Packers week
yep,
3.
yep.
Yep, they beat Kansas City, Green Bay, and forgot who the other one was. That makes me feel
Yeah,
like
me
less
too.
of a Lions fan.
Oh, it's all good. But what do you think, Bodie? Who are you picking in this game?
I agree with you, but I think the biggest thing is for Detroit, they got CJ Gardner Johnson coming back. They got Brian Branch, James Houston, Aiden Hutchinson on defense. I mean, and Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone on defense. This defense can be dogs, but I think the secondary, as you said, is really what brings them back. And I think the veteran experience of CJ Gardner Johnson as a playoff, as he was on the Eagles last year, went to the Super Bowl last year. I think his experience with the Eagles last year is going to help the secondary try and improve. And I think it really did last week, kind of against, Minnesota. I think they were trying to rest their starters. And I think the big thing on offense for Detroit as well is going to be Sam Laporta. Is he going to come back and is he going to play this game? He's still kind of questionable. I think he might be able to play in this game, but I think, they look. I mean, Brock Wright is a serviceable tight end to come back into this game. Jared Goff has loved his tight ends. He's loved Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's loved Jamison Williams. He's loved his receivers, and Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery behind one of the best, if not the best, offensive line in the NFL. This team really has a chance to win this game, and the Lions, I think they have the best chance to really come out and win this game. And I think, the Rams, yeah, they got Aaron Donald, but who else do they have on defense other than Aaron Donald? I mean, that's the big thing. And if the Lions can limit Aaron Donald, I think in this game, they can keep the ground game going and they can hold on to the ball. The time of possession is going to be their biggest friend if they can run the ball at Los Angeles. And that's my opinion, is that run the ball. Run the dang ball. You hold on to the ball. They don't touch the ball. They can't go score if they don't have a lot of time. That puts them in pressure mode. So I think you go into this game as Detroit, you play defense solid, you go out there on offense, you hold on to the ball, you run the ball down their throat, then you go out there on defense and you force them to make mistakes by giving them a shorter time to go down and score. So I really think it's going to come down to if Detroit can run the ball. And if I think they can do that against the Rams, they're going to come out with this win, and their defense is going to also have to step up. So I think the Lions can win this game, definitely. But also, I'm not going to knock Matthew Stafford. I mean, I grew up watching this guy. I idolized him. And so I think either way after this game, yeah, I'm going to be disappointed for the Lions to lose. But I'm still going to see Matthew Stafford move on to the next round. But I'm still going to take the Detroit Lions.
Okay, we all picked the Lions this week. I just really didn't have anything because I just don't care. I'm sorry. It's football. I don't have to worry about it until the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Now the final game of the week that's gonna be kind of weird, but I don't know what's gonna happen. It's Eagles versus the Buccaneers. And I'll start with you, Austin.
Yeah, so this game is very interesting because I believe it's in Tampa Bay, correct?
Yes.
So Tampa Bay gets +1 for home field advantage. Jalen Hurts' his finger. I don't know. He doesn't sound very confident in his throwing finger right now. It seems like that's been affecting him during practice. In fact, I don't even think he's practiced for a while now.
Not really.
Even if he's able to go, I don't think he's going to be at 100%. AJ Brown seems to be not really with the program right now. He seems very the locker room vibe for me, from an outside perspective, seems like this team is breaking down, and that's not a good timing, especially when you're going into the playoffs. Uh, so yeah, still a really talented team. They have a great defense, great defensive line, great offensive line. If they can just run the ball and do things, that way, I think they could probably win this game. But honestly, I like the Buccaneers. I think that Baker
And
Mayfield can make
AJ
enough.
AJ Brown did not practice today, but full practice by Jalen Hurts. Just want to say that.
Yeah, and that's just one less like weapon that Jalen Hurts might have, and with a hurt finger. That's just everything's kind of stacking up against the Eagles, and I've seen how they played the last 5-6 weeks, and until they prove otherwise, I don't think that they're gonna. I don't think they'll play to their best. I think the Buccaneers, yeah, they only scored 9 points last week against the Panthers, but they have
They
a
only
pretty.
need 9 points.
But hey, they needed 9 points. I think Baker can make enough plays, in his role. They have enough talent.
He beat the
I like Buck.
Packers.
Yeah, I like the Buccaneers here. Give me the upset. I guess if you consider it an upset, I do. But
How about you,
I don't
Bodie?
I don't consider this an upset for the Bucks if they win. I mean, I think they're the favorites in this game because you talked about Austin. Jalen Hurts had I think a dislocated finger. They lost AJ Brown. Their defense is not looking as good. I mean, they were down 30-0, I think, last week against New York by the end of the first half. I mean, you're gonna let the Giants put up 30 in the
the
first half
Giants are giving them
against you?
business.
the the Giants were standing on business last week against the Eagles. They were doing everything they could to try and get the Lions a 2 seed last week. But honestly, I'm going to look into this game. I think Baker Mayfield's coming in just like he did in 2020 with a chip on his shoulder, and the Bucks are going to walk in there and they're going to come out with a convincing victory because who do the Eagles have on offense other than Jalen Hurts and DeAndre Swift? DeAndre Swift can't score at all this year.
I
You
think I
traded for
saw.
DeAndre.
I
They
think I saw
traded for
illness
DeAndre.
with him.
Mhm.
Oh, really? I mean, even if they had him, he couldn't score to save his life. He wouldn't have been able to score to save his life because he goes down to the one to get Jalen Hurts the brotherly shove for the guaranteed touchdown when he is guaranteed touchdown. I mean,
That's facts.
but I do think Tampa Bay walks into this game. I think, yeah, their secondary isn't the best. It's like the Lions, but I think Tampa Bay goes into this game and they get the win. I mean, it's plain and simple. You got to go in. You got to limit. I'm going to keep saying it. Limit your opponent's time of possession. You're going to win this game. And I think that's the very same in any game, no matter what. And I think Tampa Bay is just going to go in there with a fired up Baker Mayfield, the guy you do not want to fire up in the wild card round. Give me the Bucks with Baker Mayfield.
I just want to say, Baker Mayfield has an ankle and ribs injury right now.
Yeah, but he's still got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on his
Just
team.
want
So I
to
mean,
tell you about that ankle and injury. He had a limited practice today, but did not practice yesterday.
Hmm.
I'm still going to take the Bucks. I mean, they got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So I mean,
But yeah, AJ Brown did not practice the last 2 days. Sidney Brown is out probably. Reed Blankenship is probably out because he's groin injury. They might be out with their best receivers. And
so exactly.
I think the Buccaneers, they have proven versus the Packers, versus other teams, they are a good team. They might not become from the best division, but they're the better team in the NFL because it doesn't matter how many wins you got. They can get 6 wins, 6 losses and 11 wins by the Eagles. But 9 and 8, that doesn't matter what happens.
It doesn't matter the record. It matters about the team on the field during the game. And that's why I'm taking the Bucks. I think they have the better quarterback, the better healthy quarterback. They have the better receiving core. I think they have a really good offensive line, to be fair. So Baker's going to be protected well.
Hmm.
Tristan, I mean, yeah, I'm going to take that's my point. I mean, the Bucks have been good all year, good enough. I mean, they've been really good by NFC South standards to win the division. So I'm going to take the Bucks.
And I think I'm going for you, but I cannot see the Eagles make the greatest downfall in NFL history. I can't see it. I just can't see it. It's probably
I
the
can see
greatest
it.
downfall. Wouldn't it be one of the greatest downfalls that the Eagles lose?
It would be the greatest collapse in NFL history.
Yeah.
I'm picking the Bucks with you, but I'll be rooting for the Eagles because Eagles, if they lose, they might be. Nobody wants to play. They are not good right now. What happened from the last year's Super Bowl runner-ups to now?
Lost a lot of players. I mean, I talked about it. C.J. Gardner-Johnson going to Detroit, and a loss of their talent. I mean, obviously A.J. Brown being injured now, and I think Devontae Smith has been injured for a while. I haven't seen much of him all year.
And Jalen Hurts kind of regressed too.
He has regressed a lot.
Once he got that bag, a lot of quarterbacks did. They didn't play very well once they got that bag in the offseason.
Except Lamar.
Lamar is
doing Lamar things though.
Yeah, he's different.
But yeah, he's just built different.
But yeah, picking the Buccaneers. But yeah, here's our picks. But yeah, anything else before we get out of here? Because this is kind of a long video. Right, Sanders.
Go Lions.
Yeah, go Lions. Appreciate you having us on here, Ken Dog. Thank you for being a good host. And everyone, make sure that when you're watching this, you subscribe to Ken Dog Sports.
Yes, sir. And, I'm getting 600 really soon.
Get it up to 600. Also, shout out to Bodee and his channel.
I'll put their links in the description when I post everything. But yeah, thanks for watching. Go Packers, go Lakers, go Tigers, and go Pistons. Be yourself, don't be others, and go Lions for you guys. And let's see how the Pistons are doing because Pistons lost by 2 points tonight.
Oh.
But yeah, thanks for watching. Love you guys. Later. Be yourself, don't be others. Later. Peace.